start. I could start.
You don't have to yell.
I don't have to yell?
No, Lenny.
What happens if I just want to yell? Okay, welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard on a lovely Sunday morning. Of course, the question is, this is something that we didn't have to say on Sirius Radio, but the question is, can you hear us? Or can you hear me at this point? Just tell me in the chat room. Of course, we rely on Chris Gallo for that. So good morning to you all. Daniel Ferrara is here. Want to make sure you can all hear us. Malpal, can you hear us? We can see you. So thanks for joining us, everybody. And away we go. Want to make sure the sound is good. Sound is good. There you go. All right.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear me.
I have a question for Roto Lady.
Great.
Is there another radio show in the history of radio that you know of where the co-hosts help each other get dressed before the show?
We help each other get dressed?
I just want to know.
Or is it me really helping you get dressed?
So there is no. All right, we're the only show where the co-hosts help each other get dressed. But let's get it off to a sad start. The passing of Dwight Smith, who was part of the 1995 championship team for the
Mets? Wait, who did he play for?
The
Cubbies.
Well, he played for the Atlanta Braves also.
And the Cubbies.
1963 to 2002. 89, Rookie of the Year runner-up. Dwight Smith, he played, he had postseason trips with the Cubs and the Braves. Condolences. Dwight Smith was a player. And, you think of him as a very young player, okay?
He's 53.
So there
you know
you
how he
go.
died?
No.
A heart attack.
Oh, gee whiz. Okay. People on Earth, the sound is good. Great to hear that. So, now, there have been 10,000 days in the history of Major League Baseball with 10 or more games. Now, yesterday is one of the only days where nobody... Listen to this. Are you listening?
Yes.
You're not listening.
How could I not listen to you? I'm sitting as close as I've ever been to you.
We have never done this show sitting right next to each other. Our shoulders are touching. Is that legal? Can I get arrested for that? There have been 10,000 days in the history of Major League Baseball where there have been 10 or more games. And yesterday was one of those days where nobody hit 2 or more home runs in a game. Nobody had 2 or more stolen bases in a game. Nobody scored 3 runs in a game. Nobody threw a complete game. No team scored 10 or more runs in a game, and no team won via the walk-off. That's a boring day, right?
Like, who has time to come up with these?
I don't know.
How much research do you have to do to find that out?
Chris Gallo just warns us to keep our hands to ourselves, okay? Stop it. She's kicking me with her knees now. All right, the Yankees now lead the Astros by a game and a half for the best record in the American League. It is, I'll tell you, it's close.
The closest any team's been to the Yankees since May 10th. So
May 10th.
The Astros creeping up. This is because the Yankees pitching is flailing right now.
It is flailing.
But since Malpal's here, right?
Yep.
Is Malpal here?
Malpal predicted
We
it.
got to talk about Josh Hader for a second.
Malpal predicted. We'll get to Josh Hader in a minute.
Josh Hader. He traded for Josh Hader.
Yeah, leave him alone. Okay?
Can I just finish what I'm...
No. We'll get to Josh Hader in a minute. Now, the Yankees have lost a game in which they led by at least 3 runs for the third time. The Yankees bullpen, that was one of their strong... And Aroldis Chapman is done, right?
No.
No?
He's on my bench, though. So
okay.
He's back on my bench because he needs to prove himself again. But, okay, whatever.
Yankees lost just one time when leading by 3 or more runs in the first 85 games of the season. So just let you get up to date. We're going to be talking about baseball and then go in, and you can take 1,000 points a minute on what we say about baseball and put it to your fantasy team. We'll also give you direct fantasy information on player values for next year, as the best time to prepare for next year is
after the season.
Now. Holy mackerel.
I don't agree with you. I think that
What do you mean you don't agree with me? The best time to start preparing is now.
No, it isn't.
Oh, come on. Why not?
Because you still have a couple months left to win your season, and this is the most important time of the season because everybody that's in your league, or a good chunk of them, are paying more attention to football. We found that out in our poll last week, and if you don't take advantage of this situation down the stretch, then you're crazy. What's the point of preparing for next year if you can actually...
Because you don't understand what I mean by preparing. Keep note of players that you may be looking at for next year, or you may be saying, I'm not taking them for next year. That's part of what you do now in fantasy baseball. Does that make it clearer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you think? Now, what's your opinion on Jake DeGrom? Buck Showalter says he's getting another rehab start. Do you make an offer for Jake DeGrom at this point? Or if you have Jake DeGrom, do you market him right now?
You do not market Jacob DeGrom. How could you? I don't know if anybody out there in the chat room, go ahead and let me know. If you've been holding on to Jacob DeGrom all year, are you really going to put him up for trade? That's just unheard of. But here's the thing that struck me.
Because now you can get something from him. Go ahead.
How can you get something from him when he hasn't even pitched?
For him. People are getting ready. They feel, look.
Okay.
He's mentally and emotionally getting up to shape and physically. The word has it that he's going to be starting after one more rehab start. There may be some who want to buy Jake DeGrom, thinking that he's going to take him to the promised land.
Okay, Buck Showalter, the thing that stood out to me, he didn't say he needs to physically get back with his next rehab start. He says, I think it would be good for Jake to get that mentally, emotionally behind him.
Yeah.
Mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? We care more about mental and emotional situations with players. Maybe if they got to pitch, he'd feel better.
So answer my question. If you have him, would you put him on the market if you can get good players for him that you need?
Of course, but nobody's given you anything for him yet.
I beg to differ.
I would wait a couple outings, but like I said, you're not going to give away Jake DeGrom for pennies on the dollar because you still paid for him at the draft, if you don't recall. I don't know if that matters at this point, but you paid good money for Jacob DeGrom. So why would you trade him for guys like Joey Wendell or, a couple of mediocres?
We get a note in the chat room. Is anybody else's audio dropping? That's what we want to know.
Yeah.
Is the audio dropping? We have other ways of doing this. So let me say good morning to Brooks and Chris and Dads and Premier and Daniel Ferrara and James Caprion and Mal Pal and Post 1958 and a whole bunch of guests. If you don't mind, go up to the top. I would go. Boston Paul is here. Go up to the top. It's free. All you got to do is just register. And we can see who you are, okay? The Angels are getting phone calls on Shohei Ohtani.
Yes, they're not trading him.
Now, what do you think? In the offseason, Shohei Ohtani, what do you think is going to happen? We got 3 players to talk about. Shohei Ohtani, number 1. What do you think?
He's going to sign with the Angels.
Okay. Mike Trout, what do you think?
I think if Ohtani does, he will also stay with the Angels.
And what do you think the chances are
maybe not.
So if they keep Trout and Ohtani, what do you think the chances are of the Angels also adding Soto?
No
Imagine
way.
Next year, Soto, Trout, and Ohtani.
Their problem is clearly with pitching.
Okay, but could they still... I mean, they have a lot of money on this team. Could they sign Ohtani, Soto, and Trout?
Soto's not going to the Angels.
Okay.
Soto is going to a team that can win this year. Because no matter how many prospects you give up, no matter what you have to give up, which is going to be a boatload of players, You're going to have to also realize that he may or may not stay with the team. You may not have what it takes. He's been turning down offers of $440 million. You have to be able to win now. Otherwise, you have to sign Soto, and that in itself is going to be a tough one. So whoever does decide to give up a whole bunch of rookies or a whole bunch of players for this guy, they better be prepared to win this year. And the Angels are not that. So
your boy Malpal asks a question in the chat room. Chat room is, would Ohtani or Soto fetch more in a trade? Who would fetch more, Soto or Ohtani? I think it's no question that it's going to be Soto.
I think it's Ohtani.
You think Ohtani fetches more in a trade than Soto?
Yes, I do.
You got to be out of your
mind.
mind.
No, I'm not crazy.
Okay.
Look at what he's doing. This guy, and we talk about fantasy on this show.
Yeah.
But look at the real world value of this player. I mean, he's not just a good hitter, a great hitter. He's an excellent pitcher.
Well, the Angels have said they have no plans on moving Ohtani before the August 2nd trade deadline. They also have lost 6 straight games. You're listening to this? The Angels have lost 6 straight games when Shohei Ohtani homers.
Okay. Tatis.
Does that really mean anything?
No.
It's the longest losing streak of any player in Major League Baseball.
How's the sound, everybody? Is the audio...
I think the sound, everybody's saying okay.
Okay.
You can, okay.
Your loud mouth is okay.
Did you see Alex Manoah pitch the other day?
Yes, I did. Are you kidding me? Do I see him pitch? He's wonderful. 20th win, okay? He's the second pitcher in Blue Jays history to win at least 20 in their first 40 career starts. Yeah. Juan Guzman,
he was a good pitcher. Yeah.
Can you at least wait till I'm finished with the sentence?
I'm excited.
You can see it right on the screen, and you don't have that long to wait. I was on Juan Guzman, had 21 wins in his first 40 starts. That's all I was going to say, and you're interrupting me.
Anthony D.B. Miller is here. Good morning. Detroit Tigers are represented now. Okay.
Poor Detroit Tigers. They're losing lately again.
Oh, God.
Which happens to young teams, you know. We can't hold it against them too much. Did you skip the Tatis?
No, I didn't skip Tatis.
Okay. I just want to make sure we
talk
about it.
I didn't skip Tatis. I added stuff. That's why you don't have it.
Let me see what McKenzie's doing this month.
McKenzie. Tristan McKenzie. This month.
In 4 starts this month, 26 and 2/3 innings, 1 earned run, 13 hits in 26 innings.
Okay.
8 walks and a .34 ERA. One of the greatest things about McKenzie and the rest of the Cleveland starters is that they continuously go late into games when they pitch. This is one stat that I look at constantly when I'm looking at pitchers is how many hits are they giving up in accordance to how many innings pitched. So a lot of times you'll see that pitchers are giving up more hits than innings pitched, and that's a huge red flag, but it happens all the time. So the fact that he gave up only 13 hits in 26 and 2/3 innings, and of course 1 earned run.
So like I said, we're preparing for next year. So let's frame this now. Let's say in a 260 format, and we always talk about dollars, not draft slots, because draft slots so different in different kinds of leagues. But the dollar values give you a better idea. Tristan McKenzie, in a $260, 12 or even 15, get a roundabout number. How much are you paying for Tristan McKenzie next year?
Maybe $15.
$15, you'll never get him.
Why?
He's an $18 pitcher. 18.
Why? Because he had a good month of June?
His scoreless streak ended at 24 innings pitched. Second scoreless streak by a Guardian starter. I think Cliff Lee had more.
I hate Guardian's name.
Yeah, I don't even know who the Guardians are. Okay. Okay. We can call them whatever you want. So Tristan McKenzie has thrown 21 straight scoreless innings in 3 starts. And the Cleveland Indians, we got to call them the Indians. You gotta call them.
I don't know why I think that's funny. It's not funny.
I said you wanted to talk about Fernando Tatis.
Fernando Tatis. Okay, he's hitting in the cage at 95 to 100%. He's cleared to swing a bat for about a week now. He's doing it at full strength, which is wonderful for people that invested in Fernando Tatis, and he should be coming back. I'd love to hear what the reason. How are they keeping him out too because of mental and emotional stability?
No, he took grounders. But they're still limiting him to soft toss. Okay, and
then how is he at 95% if he's doing soft toss?
Because the other 5% is regular toss. I don't know what it is.
If he's 95 to 100% swinging.
There's a lot of good reports out about Fernando Tatis. I'll ask you the same question. Are you prepared? No. Are you prepared? If you have him, do you trade him now for a bundle? If you don't have him, do you go after him?
Look, there's nothing more that I would want for the Padres than for Tatis to come back healthy and continue on with his wonderful ability to play baseball. I still am not over the fact that he hasn't fixed his shoulder. He hasn't fixed his shoulder.
Well, why don't they just DH Tatis, like Malpel says?
Does that help him when he's batting in his shoulder?
Not when he's batting, but it keeps him off the field for further risk.
Okay, I wouldn't trade for him, and I didn't draft him based on his shoulder. So if I did have him on my team, I probably would consider trying to trade him because I think that he's very popular and people will pay for him.
This is the first time in 30 years of doing any broadcast.
That you took a shower?
No, that I'm actually touching the skin of my co-host's legs. By accident.
Quit touching me.
Well, no, we're bumping into each other.
Quit touching me.
Our legs are touching. That's going to make for a great radio show.
The Red Sox have allowed 55 runs in their last 3 games.
Gosh.
Okay. And I have to... This begs a question, right? Are they going to sell? Because they have just been... with a streak like this, I mean, they're not doing well to begin with. That good. They're not doing that well. The Baltimore Orioles are a better team than the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And at this point, when you give up 55 runs, or your pitching allows 55 runs in 3 games, and 28 of those were on Friday, right? Against Toronto. But you do have to consider selling.
Well, let's go to the chat room and ask Boston Paul.
Okay.
Right? Is Boston Paul. What do you think? The Red Sox...
We will activate you, Boston Paul. As soon as we're done with the show, we'll activate you. You don't have to worry about the email.
Okay, don't worry about the email. I'll even activate.
But what do you think about your Red Sox? Are they going to be sellers or buyers? Now let's talk about the top 5 in ERA. Oh, he's going to... There he is. He's activating you. Okay. Don't delete. Activate.
Yes, that's what I know. So you're being active. It's a stupid system we have on this thing, okay?
Well, we have to protect against spammers.
Yeah, against spammers. But all along it's been said that the Red Sox were going to be going after a closer. It looks to me that the Red Sox are going to be sellers.
The Red Sox haven't gone after a closer for 6 years.
But that's been the rumor that the Red Sox, according to Boston Paul, the Red Sox are done.
Please.
Red Sox are done.
They're done. Sellers. He says sellers. The top 5 ERAs in July. Let's ask the chat room trivia.
Mr. Doggett has joined us. Good morning.
Hello, Pete. Who do you think has the best ERA for the month of July? And who do you think has the worst ERA in the month of July? We're talking about teams here, not pitchers.
Yeah. Well,
and we'll just, don't say any. Let's just let them guess.
What do you mean don't say any?
Because I told him to guess.
Because the best ERA in the month of July... You want to do July? Yeah, July.
That's what we have.
And what team has the worst ERA?
In the month of July.
In the month of July.
So let's just scroll up.
Okay, so we did get to that. And the Mets, by the way, are 3-25 when they score 2 runs or less.
I mean, is that a useful tidbit? Because aren't most teams going to lose if they score less than 2 runs?
Well, that's what you're saying, because the Braves are 2-15.
I guarantee every team in the league that scores 2 or less runs has a horrible record in those games.
Even when Scherzer or DeGrom pitches for the Mets, if they don't score 2 runs, they lose.
So the Pirates, they traded Vogelbach, to the Mets, and they got back Holderman, a pitcher.
Yeah. And he was a good relief pitcher. He was doing okay.
He was a closer last year.
Yeah.
But this year, he's got 17 innings, 2.04 ERA. So they trade Vogelbach for this pitcher, and then they immediately send him down yesterday. It's not
Well,
right.
yeah, but that's just roster manipulation.
For what reason?
He was 4-0 with a 2.04 with 18 strikeouts, 15 relief appearances.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 4 wins.
And opponents were batting 186, so he'll be back. He'll be back. And Vogelbach led the Pirates in RBIs.
Right, which isn't saying much. And by the way, Vogelbach, first of all, I don't know for sure that he's going to get a chance to play every day, but he does look like, as far as RotoWire has him listed as the number 1 DH, okay, for the Mets. But he cannot and never has been able to hit lefties. So get your DFS notebook out. Remember not to take Vogelbach against a lefty, no matter how cheap he is. And also know that he just can't hit lefties in general. So if you have a daily league or whatever, don't spend a lot on Vogelbach.
And you talk about, we talked about the Mets trading the catcher for, I think it was for Vogelbach, right?
They traded Holderman, the pitcher.
Holderman, that's right, Holderman's the pitcher.
But you're talking about how the Mets and most teams are going more on the defensive end of the catcher spectrum, where they're targeting catchers that are really good behind the plate rather than trying to find catchers that are going to hit home runs all the time. So, like, an offensive catcher would be Gary Sanchez, for example. They're not looking for Gary Sanchez anymore. They're looking for Roberto Perez.
Triple A has joined us. Triple Play, by the way, in the chat. You know what?
Triple Play?
Yes.
Triple A.
I was asked a question before the show started. Which catcher would I rather have, Kirk or Travis d'Arnaud?
When were you asked this?
Before the show, in the chat room.
How could you not say Kirk? Is he hurt or something?
Well, what about... I like Travis d'Arnaud.
For what reason?
But I think he's a terrific offensive
Better
catcher.
than Kirk?
Well, Kirk has been better, but I don't think that's going on all year. The point is that teams don't care about the offense anymore. What? Offense is nice. I mean, Heim on Texas.
When we're talking about catchers only.
Catchers only.
Didn't the Mets just draft another catcher?
The Mets, here's what the Mets have. They have Alvarez, and they just drafted a guy, I forget his name, as their number 1 pick. And all the Met fans are complaining, all right?
Well,
we have a great the Mets are doing a smart thing. They're keeping them both down. They just brought up another catcher who's sitting about 180. The point is, the Mets have 2 number 1 catchers who are going to develop, and at some period of time, they're going to have 2 number 1 catchers. Great trade bait. Or do they split the time? Does one catcher become a DH? Does the other catcher do they split? And this way, the playing time of both of the catchers is cut in half. What do you think of that?
I think it's ridiculous that they drafted a catcher when they have such a great catcher.
I just explained to you why. It's not ridiculous.
Well, I'm answering your question. I think it is ridiculous.
All right. Don't you think it's ridiculous that Steven Matz left the game yesterday with a left knee strain? First start back since this guy has been probably in my top 10 disappointing players.
You didn't even like him.
I did like him years ago.
I know, but you haven't liked him for a long time.
No, well, how do you
didn't like him when he went to St. Louis, and I did.
There's no David Dahl.
Yeah,
I did like David Dahl. He agreed to a deal with the Nats. No one really qualifies Dahl as insurance for Soto, but he's on this team.
He signed a minor league contract, so don't get all excited about David Dahl. He's not in the majors.
And there are times where you have a genius of the day or trivia question, but when you ask the question, it gives the answer, right? So should I ask the question?
Boston Paul thinks they split the time, and Lenny's right.
That's right. Thank you, Boston Paul.
Oh, God.
Who has more stolen bases? Is this the number 1? Is this the number 1 thing in fantasy baseball? The number 1 surprise? The number 1 surprise in fantasy baseball. Who has more stolen bases this season? Nelson Cruz or Mike Trout?
Nelly.
Yeah.
By accident.
Is this the number 1 surprise in all of fantasy baseball?
Well, you've definitely seen a drop. Not just a slow drop, but a serious drop-off in stolen bases for Mike Trout. And while he's having a phenomenal season, and he did absolutely, I think he's earned his draft spot where he was drafted, but the stolen bases are gone completely. And they won't come back. This is not something that comes back with age. It absolutely disappears with age. And Mike Trout fell off a cliff, and he's not coming back. For steals.
Okay, for steals. So Mike Trout has fewer stolen bases than Nelson Cruz.
Which is 0, by the way.
What would you have bet on that at the beginning of the year? Considering that Trout has been playing, okay? I don't care if he had 50 games, but I'll tell you what. Also, why did they put, I talked about this during the week on the podcast, why did they put the Futures game on when there were a whole bunch of games on Saturday?
I have no idea.
Why didn't they put the Futures game on, Sunday, when everything was over? We want to watch the Futures game.
Not Sunday, Leonard.
Whenever it was.
Everything's over on Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know why they did that. They should have done it. They should have had the Future game when there's no other games going on, and it's still part of the All-Star break.
And the Cubs and the Reds, don't forget, the Cubs and the Reds.
At the Field of Dreams, and I don't know why you're so hard on it. There's a lot of Cubby fans in Iowa. There's a lot of Cubby fans everywhere. They are one of the most fan-favorite teams in the country, so...
If you saw that David Price got the save yesterday, it was because Craig Kimbrell pitched on consecutive nights. And Craig Mish has been very vocal about the plight of the Miami Marlins. J.J. Bleday, their former number one pick, who we talked about a lot from the Arizona Fall League, J.J. Bleday has been called up.
What? So he's been called up for the Marlins. He plays left, center, and right field. But he's not a starter, but except for you have John Birdie and Jorge Soler both on the injured list, so he should get to start in left field, but he didn't play. Did he? I don't think he played.
When?
Yesterday.
I don't know if he played yesterday.
But he should get to play a regular basis.
They're not bringing him up to sit him on the bench.
With Soler and... whoever else I said.
Well, Soler on the injured list again. Okay? Chaz Chisholm out approximately 6 weeks. What a bummer that is.
Yes.
Soler and Avisail Garcia, who hit a combined 56 home runs in 2021, have hit a combined 20. 20! And that's it.
I'm getting my coffee.
Get your coffee, okay? And maybe it's a coincidence, and we told you this the other day. Since Rob Thompson took over, the Phillies relievers have faced the second fewest batters in Major League Baseball. That's crazy.
He's magic.
Okay? And Patrick Corbin...
Why do we even talk about this guy?
Because he needs only 7 losses to become the first 20-game loser in the National League since Phil Niekro in 1979.
So... and that's fantasy relevant how? I think you should look at your Nuggets and you should say, are these Nuggets fantasy relevant? Is Patrick Corbin
Yes,
fantasy?
Because Patrick Corbin may be on another team, may be on a good team trying to get Soto. If Corbin now lands with the Dodgers or he lands with with another good team, you got to know all about Patrick Corbin. Got to know all about him.
I know enough not to draft him, dude.
And you wanted to talk about Josh Hader? Go ahead.
Josh Hader pitched a scoreless ninth, Malpal, with 2 strikeouts and a walk. I felt so bad. I mean, I don't really feel that bad because in the same couple days that Malpal got Hader in a trade, I got Chapman in a trade. So all the crying, couldn't feel that bad when I'm too busy feeling bad for myself with Chapman. Although getting Hader was smarter, and he probably had to give up a lot more to get him. Anyway, he said something that sticks in my mind. He said, I just lost the league by getting Hader. And because Hader, as soon as Malpal put him on his team, he just started turning it. It was crazy. It was like a curse, okay?
Well, 12 runs in 4 1/3 innings.
I said, Josh Hader will come around. Don't you worry. And here he is. So I just wanted to take a second and tell Malpal his season is looking bright again.
All right, isn't this better than Sirius Radio when we can actually talk to our audience, right? I think so. So Josh Hader breaking out of his slump. He had allowed 9 runs over 1/3 of an inning in his last 2 appearances. His ERA went from 1.05 to 4.50.
Should we talk about... We have a lot of notes on the Red Sox, but I don't know if we should. Boston Paul probably knows all of this stuff. The Red Sox are 0-10-1 in a series versus the AL East this season. They haven't won a series against an AL East team this season. That's the first time that they've ever gone this far to the All-Star break without winning one series against the AL East.
All right. I get you that.
But the Mariners, they've won 14 games since July 2nd, and the Angels have won 14 games since May 22nd. So clearly the Mariners are crushing the Angels right now.
One of my favorite things to do is to check out Cecil and Prince Fielder. I don't know why. Maybe because people tell me I look like them.
How do you look like either?
Both Prince and Cecil Fielder finished their career with 319 home runs. A lot of us know that. But did you also know that Cecil and Prince Fielder had 97 two-out home runs each? They had 49 fourth-inning home runs each. They had 29 fifth-inning home runs each. And 18 ninth-inning home runs. That's incredible. How a father and a son playing at different times can have the same stats. And you're laughing.
You look like Cecil and Prince Fielder.
I resemble them in some ways. I'm a fat guy. All right,
they're not fat, Leonard.
Okay.
And they're not short, and they're not white.
Dirty Eck. Welcome home, Dirty Eck. Dirty Eck, one of the top broadcasters in our now defunct network. I want to start that back up again, Dirty Eck. So anytime you're ready, we're going to start back our network. And you know anything about Sky Bolt? What are you laughing at?
I don't know, Leonard.
I'm talking about Sky Bolt.
Okay. He's seen 79 fastballs
this season. 79 fastballs.
318 batting average and a 591 slugging against him.
Okay.
He's seen 75 breaking balls also. Okay, so compare and contrast. 79 fastballs, 318 batting average, 75 breaking balls, a 0
batting average. He hasn't gotten a hit off a breaking ball all year.
So why would anybody throw him a fastball?
I guess that's the question, right? I guess that's the question. All right, let's go to the games. White Sox and Cleveland. I'm not calling them the Guardians. Josh Naylor. Now, I know I've asked you this before, but we saw Josh Naylor in the Arizona Fall. We're going to be reporting on the Arizona Fall League again, right, Dogman? I don't care what they say. We're going to be doing it, okay?
What do you mean, what they say? Who's they?
I don't even want to talk about it, okay? Josh Naylor snapped a ninth-inning tie at a pinch hit single. Cleveland, they're moving. They beat the White Sox in the opener of a split doubleheader.
Why do they call it a split doubleheader?
Because normally you have a doubleheader and you play it at the same time. This was a day-night doubleheader, like 2 different games.
What do you mean that?
You need 2 different tickets. You need, all right, normally you use the same ticket to go to a doubleheader.
Really?
But now
they're always split up. That you never see them out there one game right after the other.
No, they take a break,
right.
But they don't empty the stadium.
So when they say split doubleheader, that means they empty out the whole stadium, you pay for another ticket.
And everything. And I remember I used to go to the doubleheaders. They used to be 2 games
for the price of
for 1 ticket. Stephen Kwan, 3 hits. Jose Ramirez, 2 runs. Stephen Kwan. All right.
Is Unholy here?
No. He doesn't come on the weekends, okay? So the Guardians improved to 8-9 in games during their Major League high 9 doubleheaders.
They have the most doubleheaders in baseball.
And Josh Naylor, 14 for 35 against the White Sox this year.
And also, the Guardians, they entered yesterday only 1.5 games back from Minnesota for the AL Central. And, I mean, you could just count out the White Sox at this point, right? It's too bad.
Yeah. Well, look, the White Sox have a differential. La Russa is going to get fired.
It's not his fault.
It is his fault.
Oh, please.
Why isn't it his fault? You tell me why it's not the manager's fault, and I'll give you
Is it his fault when Lance Lynn comes out and gives up 8 runs?
Yes, it is his fault.
That
yes.
Eloy is always hurt? Is it his fault that Yoan Moncada can't steal bases anymore? Is it his fault? No.
Yes.
What's he supposed to do?
It's not his fault.
People just like to really...
Directly. But I have heard from Bob Nightingale and a couple others...
Okay, well, Bob Nightingale is not a good...
Yeah, you be quiet, too.
Okay.
I have heard from Bob Nightingale that the locker room is in shambles.
Oh, please. I don't believe a word that guy says.
Any time, if you ever played ball, and I know you did...
I don't believe a word he says.
That anytime you have a locker room where there are cliques, there are...
How does he know? He's not even allowed in there.
He is so.
No, he isn't.
And the manager's job is not to go up there and get the hit. Not to go out there and strike out the batter. It's to get the best out of his players, and he's not doing it.
You trust John Heyman?
I didn't get that from John Heyman.
Do you trust John Heyman?
Not all the time. I don't know. It depends on what it is.
Oh.
But I definitely... Now, Eloy homered. Moncada drove in 2 runs. But I'll tell you what. It's not a good situation for the White Sox. And Yasmani Grandal looks like he's back. He had 3 of Chicago's 11 hits in the opener in the second game back since being injured. So we'll see how that works out. How about Justin Verlander?
I love him.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
For sure.
He's first 13-game winner this season so far. 99 he's throwing. This guy wasted no time from Tommy John.
Now, Malpal says it's not La Russa's fault 100%. But the job of the manager, I mean, they got hitting coaches, they got pitching coaches. The job of the manager is to get the team in the best mental position to win.
Oh, God.
Mental.
Maybe if we stopped coddling players all the time, they wouldn't have such mental problems.
The name of the game. There are some players that play better when they're coddled. There are some players that play better when you go nose to nose.
No player
You
is
have
better.
to be smart enough to know how to treat your players.
It used to be that a good
La
coach...
Russa doesn't have that.
It used to be that a good manager would get the most effort out of their team. They would get the best work ethic. They would make their players show up on time. They would make sure that they're paying attention to the game and keep their head in the game till the very last pitch. Now, they're too busy figuring out which ones need to be coddled and which ones need to be tough. No, they all need to be tough. Every single one of them. You come out here, you give 100% every single day, and if you have any mental problems, leave them at home, because right now we're paying you millions of dollars to put your best physical effort.
Do you like when I coddle you?
Nobody coddles me.
I coddle you. What is coddle?
I coddle you.
What is coddle?
Coddle means baby. It means trophy for everybody.
No,
it means everybody's a winner no matter if you try or not. It means if you lose, you cry.
So we don't coddle, we don't cuddle. What else don't we do?
We coddle and cuddle.
Okay.
When you're older, you do get coddled.
Yes, could you scratch my back? Justin Verlander became the Major League's first 13-game winner. He struck out 9. He's a Hall of Famer,
He
right?
is not coddled.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely.
He allowed what? Mitchell is here. There you go. Merrill can't be far behind. Good morning, Mitchell. Nice to see Mitchell in the chat room. Merrill should be close by.
Hello, Mitchell.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Johnston, Tommy Johnston is here. Forgot I didn't say hello to you. Sorry about that. Verlander, 4 hits in 7 innings. He won his 5th straight start, lowered his ERA to 1.86.
I love Verlander.
Only behind McClanahan.
Who couldn't like him? He's pitching 99. He's throwing 99.
What are you paying for Verlander?
I'll pay 20 for him next year.
20?
25.
Second round?
I'm not drafting pitchers. Let me tell you.
Second round,
No.
yes or no?
No. I probably won't get him. But when we did our all-star value-added team last week, and we went through a lot of players. In fact, we had Malpal. We wrinkled up Malpal's help, and he helped put together all the players.
Is Malpal still winning Tout Wars?
Malpal, what?
Is he still winning the Tout Wars League?
Did you not notice he's second to me?
Oh, second to you?
Why do you not notice that?
I don't follow any leagues anymore.
Yes, Malpal's winning the Tout Wars. And the draft was on Memorial Day. It was a Memorial Day draft. Okay. And yes, Malpal's winning since I'm invisible. But.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing King of all Haps has just joined us in the chat room.
Hello, King Hap.
Go.
We absolutely, we put a little list of players together, and after they put the players together, I went and looked up all their ADPs and their stats, and then we looked at it from there, and we chose the players that we thought were the value-added all-stars for fantasy this year. And the number of pitchers on that list was absolutely, completely, it was probably 2-to-1 pitchers to hitters. And that's why I've always been a fan of waiting a little bit in drafts for pitchers. But that just, what's the word? It solidifies my belief that the pitching draft in the first round, the second round, I think you're making a huge mistake.
Even when Verlander has allowed 1 earned run or fewer in 7 of his 8 starts.
Verlander got drafted. He's not going to get drafted late this year because he's doing so well. But I'm not taking a chance that early in a draft on a guy that's 40 years old and has that many innings on his arm. I love Verlander, don't get me wrong. I love him. I would have drafted him this year at where he was going for sure. But to be honest, it's not going to last forever. And it's a huge risk to draft a pitcher that early. Even if it's the best pitcher. Look at Shane Bieber. Look at Brandon Woodruff. I mean, Woodruff's been turned it around. But you know what I'm saying? These pitchers that we're all drafting really early, you're talking about the guys that are really setting fire to fantasy this year are guys that you got in the 9th round, the 8th round, and so I'm not willing to even look at a pitcher until maybe the 4th round. Then I'm ready to draft guys like Luis Castillo, Pablo Lopez. Okay. I would say Trevor Rogers, but he sucks.
Noah Syndergaard?
Never. Never.
What about...
Why do you want to talk about Noah Syndergaard?
I don't. I just threw him in.
You like him because he's handsome.
Get your legs off of my legs.
Don't you like him because he's handsome?
It's like
you like Syndergaard.
Ryan Presley is going to return from paternity. What do you think of paternity leave?
I don't know why any man's on paternity leave.
Why? No, they should be. You want to see your baby born.
Of course, a couple days. I have no problem with that.
And then get the hell out of there and go back to your team. I once went to Chicago Airport to meet my son to ask him an important question. We met. Then I got back on a plane and I came home. It's possible to do. You want to see your wife, you want to see your kid, you want to blah, blah, blah. The kid stays in the hospital. Get back to your team.
Paternity leave, I don't see a problem with a pitcher or a hitter or anybody in sports taking off a couple days because their baby is born. If you have a problem with that, there's something wrong with you.
Well, how about the guys who take off 3-4 days? No, I do have a problem with it.
Well, what's the limit? Are you okay with a couple days?
No. If you plan it out, you can have your baby in the off season. What's wrong with that? Right?
I don't know, Leonard. That's not always how it works. So.
Okay. Lance McCullers, by the way, made a rehab start on Friday.
I wonder if there are players out there that actually do say no to their spouse. Say no, we must use birth control for these months out of the year.
I bet
or just not have sex.
I don't know if there are, but there should be, and I'll bet you there are some. But I don't think anybody's going to talk about it.
What wife is going to be doing that?
I don't think anybody's going to talk about it. Julio Rodriguez, day to day, had a left wrist strain. Here you go.
Home run derby?
Nobody will ever compete in the home run derby anymore. Right?
We've been saying that for years.
That's right. Mitchell Harson traded for Chisholm.
He traded for Chisholm. But wait a minute.
What?
His worst trade was Austin Riley for Bryce Harper. You're not going to say that.
Well, you can't.
Why would you trade Austin Riley for Harper? Well, Harper's still, I mean, that's not your worst trade. I can guarantee you that.
Robbie Reyes, 4-0 his last 8 starts, matching a season high with 12 strikeouts on Texas. against Texas. He's going today. And we talked about Alex Manoah. Alec. 6 sharp innings. I will tell you.
He's great, right? He got into a spat with someone.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, it was like just a little argument. He was on the mound, but he's huge.
And he was great when he looks like Lance Lynn.
Yes. Why?
Right?
Because he's overweight?
Because he looks like him.
Because he's girthy?
Because he looks like him.
Because he's girthy?
Whether he could be girthy or skinny or fat or short or tall, that's why I look like Cecil Fielder.
No,
right?
you don't, Leonard.
You don't think I do?
Don't you think the color of your skin matters when you
No,
say you look
no.
like someone?
No. So who in baseball?
You look like Cecil Fielder.
So who do you think I look like for all the baseball players?
The guy that played third base that they used to call a name.
Who?
The one that broke his belt. The panda.
Oh, Pablo Sandoval?
Yeah, the panda.
You think I resemble Pablo Sandoval?
Okay, hold on. Look.
Well, you don't look. Anybody know who Morgana was? Who was Morgana? Andrea resembles Morgana.
No, you
All right.
said I look like a wrestler. What's the wrestler that you said I look like?
You look a lot of wrestlers.
No, the blonde wrestler that you used to call me.
Who was Morgana? Let's see how smart the chat room is without Unholy Toledo.
1 second.
What?
Post 1958. He talks about how about Julio hurting his wrist on Sunday before the All-Star break and then going nuts in the home run derby, and now he's sitting real games, and I can understand the pain for
you're
anybody,
absolutely
especially
right.
fantasy. But just remember, you're already gotten out of him way more than you paid. That's not going to make you feel any better, but he'll be back. He's young, you know.
Leonard Donaldson got it. Morgana was the kissing bandit. Did you ever know about her?
I know who she is with the huge boobs.
It doesn't matter. She used to run.
It does matter. Her boobs are huge.
She used to run on the field.
Yes, I know who she is.
Kiss a player and then get escorted off.
Yes, I know who she is now because of her boobs.
Boobs.
Not because of her kissing.
Why are boobs so good?
Hers were huge.
Oh, so
they were
what?
like watermelons.
Manoah allowed 1 run on a homer. See what we can do off Sirius. Could we have this discussion on Sirius Radio?
Well,
Watermelon boobs? I don't think so.
Morgana.
Manoah, he walked none, struck out 7. His ERA is 2.24.
I love Manoah.
So, how much are we paying for Manoah next year?
$30.
$30? You just said you weren't spending money on pitchers.
I will spend.
I told you were wrong. No, you're not going for 30. He'll go for 26.
So now he'll go for 26?
26.
Oh, I'll be on the. Then I'll have him on every team, but I doubt he goes.
$26.
What do we got here? What's
26.
going on? Oh, the
There
there's
you
her
go.
boobs. Isn't that the first thing you notice about this lady?
No.
Or her hair?
No, I noticed.
It's kind of 80s or 90s.
No, I noticed her teeth.
The kissing bandit.
Her teats. Rafael Devers, he was talked about in the chat room. On the 10-day injured list, he has right hammy inflammation. Leave me alone. So
Stop
Devers
it!
is on
You know that your high-pitched elderly man voice is just too much to bear sometimes.
Yushi Kikuchi's got a strained neck. 5 good innings. 2-hit shutout.
JD Martinez has back spasms.
Is he the guy to go?
What do you mean go?
When Boston starts trading players...
Let me look at his contract.
He's a free agent.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Then, yeah, I'm sure he's... Where's he going to go?
I don't know if he should retire. If he has 1 more year. He's had a good year. Now, the other day in the podcast, I was asked, should Rich Hill be pitched against the Dodgers?
Hill? No, they asked you if you... No, they did not ask about Rich Hill.
Wasn't Rich Hill?
No, they asked about somebody in San Francisco. Wood. Alex Wood.
Alex Wood.
It's a big difference, Leonard.
But Alex Wood, like I said...
I have Rich Hill on my team, by the way, in Tout Wars.
Alex Wood did not have a bad game. And anytime you have a situation like that, Wood going against the Dodgers, that type of situation, going against a scary team, you play him if you need him. At this point, we know if we need the strikeouts, the wins, the innings, whatever we need. If you need a player, you play him. Doesn't matter what team they're up against. Unless maybe it's in Colorado.
Okay? Yeah, I think this is the last year. So he had a 19 a $19 million player option for 21, and then he exercised a $19 million player option for 22, and his contract ends this year, so he is a free agent heading into next season.
Okay.
So, yeah, he'll go.
Trevor Story isn't throwing, or he is throwing.
He's got a bruised hand.
But he hasn't swung a bat.
What's the tale of Trevor's story this year? What a disappointment.
Bad.
What about the Phillies? Are they a disappointment?
Nick Castellanos is a disappointment. What a struggle. I mean, Nico Horner homered. That's hard to say.
Castellanos was actually booed. Bless you, Leonard. That was very polite of you. Normally you blow off the ceiling when you sneeze.
Is Nico Horner horny? Nico, the horny Nico. What are you doing?
Move, I want to talk about Castellanos. I don't want to talk about Horner
Go ahead.
being horny. Okay? So there was 38,000 fans in the stands yesterday at the Phillies ballpark. And guess what? Was it in Philly? Or was it in Cincinnati?
I don't know where
because
it was.
The Cubbies played... It was the Cubbies. So absolutely it was in Philly. And Castellanos was booed by the whole stadium, dude.
Yep.
He signed a $100 million 5-year contract. He did bat .309 with 34 homers last year in Cincinnati. But right now, his average is .245. And he went 0 for 4 with a strikeout yesterday. He has only 8 homers. This guy has not even reached double-digit homers for the season. But he still has 46 RBIs. And that's because the Philly lineup is beast mode.
Yeah, well, it should be beast mode.
It's going to be beast mode when Harper comes back. Which is very soon, by the way.
Oh, there's a fly.
No.
Yes. See it? On the thing. All right, Andy will be gone now. Andy's obsessed with catching flies.
And putting them outside.
Zach Wheeler. Is now the time to market Zach Wheeler? 7 strong innings for the Phillies. They're still in the thick of the National League wildcard race, but they dropped the first 2 games to the lowly Cubs. What do you do if you have Zach Wheeler?
You keep him. You pitch him every day.
You don't try to trade him?
No.
How about if you need a pitcher? Do you go after Zach Wheeler?
Yes.
Or have you lost that?
No.
1 good game is all it takes, right?
I will buy him right now while he's low.
And this kid Morrell leads all rookies in extra base hits. He has 25. So he's had a pretty nice year. I never heard of him before he came into the... Morrell, yeah.
Okay. So Nick Madrigal, left groin strain. He's back. He's been out since June 12th, but he went 1 for 2 with an RBI and a walk. He's in a rehab assignment, so he's not actually back, but he'll be back.
Anybody giving Luis Arraez? We got 3 hits, batting .340. How much are we paying for him? Are we paying double digits for Luis Arraez, who may win the batting title this year? How much is he worth? $11?
In fantasy, he's not.
Is he an $11 player?
No.
Well,
maybe 11.
Start the bidding. And Luis Arraez in the chat room. I'm going $7, Luis Arraez, okay? $7 for Luis Arraez. Come on. All right, Boston Paul's having a tough time. Boston Paul's having a real tough time. He's bummed out. Story, Devers, Red Sox pitching. Oh, my God. $7, Luis Arraez. Anybody going 8?
I think I'm going to kill a fly.
Carlos Correa also homered. Minnesota scored 6 late runs and beat. That's right, they beat the team led by... He left. Where'd he go?
He got bored. Just like me.
Joe Ryan gave up 1 run and 4 hits in 5 2/3.
He's 7-3, though.
He's 2-0. Here's the important part. He's 2-0 in 6 starts.
Since he lost to Seattle in June.
Yeah, that's right. Detroit has lost 10 out of 12.
So Joe Ryan, yeah.
Yep.
How about Michael Pineda? The biggest disappointment of ever. Even though he was drafted for $0.
Malpal just went 15 on Luis Arraez.
So this is Luis Arraez is like what we call a pure hitter. They'll talk about him like that because he's got a monster contact rate. He doesn't strike out a lot. His batting average is always going to be good. He'll take a walk. And he's very useful, like for a pure hitting standpoint. But as far as fantasy goes, I'd like to see how many home runs, stolen bases, and the rest of the categories. Because, yes, he will help you fully in your batting average. He's going to help you. He's he's a good player to get late in the draft when you have players that you drafted maybe too early that are going to hit a bunch of fantasy categories but really stink up your batting average. He's a good player to even that out. So this is one of the most important things when you get late in drafts is to know where your categories are. And a lot of times you're going to end up late in a draft needing a guy with a decent batting average, and this guy will give it to you. But you don't have to draft him early, and you certainly shouldn't, in my opinion, unless it's an only league. Malpal likes to play a lot in only leagues, so maybe he's talking about his only league.
Do you know what I just saw in the chat room for the first time ever? First time ever. Anthony D.B. Miller, a well-known Detroit Tiger fan.
He's gone.
He actually left the chat room when we were talking about the Tigers. As soon as we finished, he came back. Fantastic.
Well, we're still talking about him, actually.
Are we really? I think we're done.
We were. There was 34,205. Okay, that was the third largest home crowd for the season for the Tigers. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't recall the Tigers ever having a problem filling up their stands. I mean, when we were there, they weren't even going to make the playoffs, and the whole place was sold out. So it's hard. I mean, on April 8th was their opener, and April 23rd was when Miguel Cabrera got his 3,000th hit. And those were the only 2 days that they had more fans in the stadium than they did yesterday. I love Miggy. What a fun team. Yep. Yes, I know they're not going to win all their games. They're going to have ups and downs. But Detroit is an up-and-coming team, and you got to give them credit for that. They waited a long time for this.
What a great crowd we have in the chat room. Let me just take a minute to thank you all for coming here on our first Sunday of Lady and the Legend. We've enjoyed doing it on Sirius Radio, but let me tell you, with Anthony D.B. Miller, Boston Paul, and Chris Gallo, Data Premier, Daniel Ferrara, Dirty Eck, Dogman, James Caplion, the King Hap, Leonard Donaldson, the Malpal, the Marta, Mitchell, the Merrill, the Post, 1958, Triple Play, and Tommy John. You get all the guests. Don't forget, guests, go up on top, register. It's free, and we can call you by your name. You deserve it. Marta 123. I love you all. You've made this. Yes, we're doing it again next week.
Are we still going to go on? We have more games.
Yeah, we have more games.
Like Albert Pujols got 2 hits. I'm going to call him King Albert.
Well, Arenado got 3 hits, including 2 of the Cardinals' 6 doubles.
They had 6 doubles, and Tyler O'Neill is finally back, healthy. What are you doing?
What am I doing? Go ahead. Go ahead. Tyler
O'Neill. Consecutive 4th-inning home runs.
With Goldschmidt.
1,002 RBIs for Goldschmidt in his career. And you just got to love this team full of veterans. I mean, these guys weren't coddled.
St. Louis tied ahead. They had a season high 8 extra base hits, and they've won 6 out of 9. And Lou Landers, I don't give a hootenanny what you say.
So the other day,
I was the first one to predict, without a doubt, that the Cardinals are going to get Soto.
Okay, first of all, when you say without a doubt, that's ridiculous, because it's not without a doubt.
I think it's without a doubt.
So,
now, Lou says he mentioned it too.
He was just joking.
He mentioned it with like 17 other teams. I said and made a statement, the Cardinals, we're going to get Soto, and you'll see, they will.
So yesterday, or somebody gave Lenny credit. They said they were giving Lenny credit for saying...
It was Dennis Timko who gave me credit. Because he heard it.
Can you shut your yammering?
Go ahead. How about pie hole?
I like the word yammering now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Because I get it. So somebody, I guess it was Dr. Timko, gave Lenny credit. Why he's giving you credit now for saying that Soto's going to the Cardinals, I don't understand that. We don't know where Soto's going. And I don't think the Cardinals are going to be willing to give up a lot of youngsters. I mean, they have the best situation there right now for just any team that wants to know how to take care of youngsters and get them straight with the game of baseball. Look at the Cardinals. They have the best group of clubhouse veterans you could possibly imagine with Waino, Yachty, Arenado, Goldschmidt. These 4 players alone will create great baseball players out of their youngsters. I can't imagine them giving up a bunch of prospects for Soto. Okay? So anyway, the point is, Dr. Timko gave Lenny credit, And then Lou comes back and makes a comment and says, I said it before Lenny. And so Lenny, you could see the smoke coming out of his ears, okay? He goes, look what Lou Landers said. And so Lenny, of course, the smarty that he is, he says, when did I say it? How do you know when I said it? Because Lou doesn't really come to chat anymore.
Because he didn't hear it.
He was just joking.
Anyway, Stephen Matz won for the first time, and he's back on the injury list.
You want credit for something that hasn't happened.
He's getting an MRI. Ryan Helsley got 4 outs, struck out the side, 9 out of 12 saves. I'll tell you, what are you paying for Helsley next year? He's a closer. He's like a $15 closer, right?
I don't know. I don't pay $15 for closers.
Well,
Here's how you get closers. You wait until, no matter who it is that gets thrown out in the draft,
Whoa.
you always wait until the 5th or 6th closer because they're going to be about half the price. That's when people start running out of money. Don't ever draft a closer at full price, which is at the first part of the draft. That's my theory on closers. You don't spend money on closers anyway, so the idea that you say he's a $15 closer is...
All right, a couple of things from the chat room. First of all, Anthony D.B. Miller says, shut your yammering. He likes that. Post 1958 thanks us for doing this. We thank you more for being here. So
Harrison
appreciate
Bader is another one.
Yes.
He's got plantar fasciitis. He's at AAA right now. He's acting as the double hitter in a rehab assignment, so he's on his way back. Harrison Bader, fantasy relevant in some circumstances.
Designated hitter, not double hitter.
Designated hitter.
Yeah.
He's acting as designated hitter. Isn't that what I said?
You said double hitter.
You suck.
I suck? Suck it!
Suck on it.
No, suck. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Jose Quintana, 7 strong unit. He's definitely getting traded, right? The Pirates are going to trade him.
The Pirates just traded for a pitcher. I don't know if they...
No, they had 4 straight. They didn't. No, they're going to trade. Will you stop it? And Bednar got his 17th save. Would you rather have next year, Helsley or Bednar?
The cheapest one, Bednar. I'll take
17th
Bednar.
save and 21 opportunities.
Absolutely, why not?
And Max Mayer, the kid they called up, the Marlins rookie pitcher.
Didn't we tell somebody to take Mayer over Lodolo?
Yes.
Well, he left the game. He's got right elbow discomfort, and Miami wound up using 6 pitchers, and that was the 5th time in 6 games that they've used 6 pitchers in a game. Max Mayer, don't give up on him yet. Right elbow discomfort is alarming. I will say that. It's very alarming because the next step to that is Tommy John. But we'll figure that out when he goes for a second opinion, right?
So it's clear that Quintana's... So anyway, Mayer, he did leave in the first inning with the right elbow. So you got to watch him.
He looks good, though, when he does pitch.
He looks pretty good. Quintana's days are definitely numbered. No
He's
question
33.
about it. Definitely. And like I said, Jorge Soler placed on the 10-day injured list. Brian Anderson injured his left shoulder. Garrett Cooper was hit.
And this is why they brought up J.J. Bleday. So, yes, Bleday will get playing time. Plays all 3 outfield positions. Mm-hmm. So today's the day for fab bidding.
And this is why Craig Mish failed to call me back yesterday. I think he's unconscious.
He's been pissed off lately a lot.
Yeah, well, I don't blame him. He's following the Marlins, doing a great job, but the Marlins are not. Don't forget, I predicted the Marlins to be in the World Series. I predicted...
Are you proud of that?
I'm just telling the truth. Unlike all the other stupid analysts, nobody tells you when they're wrong, only when they're right. I predicted Alcantara to win the Cy Young in the National League. That's going to be right. I predicted Chisholm to be the MVP in the National League, fantasy-wise. That's wrong. So, I'm right and I'm wrong.
You're wrong most of the time.
Yankees went 1 for 14. The Yankees are in trouble.
Just kidding, Lenny.
They've lost 3 of 4, 8 of 12. This is their poorest stretch. And they dropped just behind the Dodgers for the best record. Aaron Judge, wow. What an offseason. Aaron Judge, you got Soto, you got Ohtani, you got Trout. Are you kidding me?
So, I'd like to say 2 things about this game. One of them, did you see Garrett Cole shoving a banana?
Yes.
And then he pitched bad after that.
So I've done that.
doesn't matter. But one thing I did notice that Matt Carpenter is doing, and we all wonder what the hell, because Matt Carpenter used to be a good player for fantasy about 8, 9, 10 years ago. Now he hit his 14th home run yesterday, but I did hear them talking about on the quick pitch today that Matt Carpenter comes out and he walks around the field, like outfield. He walks around the outfield without shoes on for 30 minutes. It's a procedure that he calls grounding.
Okay.
And he's been doing that.
That's what I do.
I think everybody should do that.
No,
Except
wait a
for what if
second.
you get ticks?
You know, when we go to the
They
airport...
don't have ticks in baseball.
When we go to the airport, I get there early. When we go to any event, I get there early. It's the same thing.
He walks barefoot around the outfield.
I'm grounding. I'm getting myself accustomed to scratch my back.
You just like to be the first in line.
Yes. Anyway, look who's here. Captain 15 TM.
Is King Hap here too?
King Hap
Hey,
is in
King
here.
Hap.
Aaron Judge, 4 hits. I'll tell you what, he's 20 for his last 54. Unbelievable.
Grounding is something that King Hap would do too, I bet. I wonder if he does that.
Do you think King Hap
Because he's
does
real
that?
good about, he really likes to keep his body in good health.
That's why he drinks beer.
So what? He eats healthy. He works out every day. Have you
Jorge
seen him?
Lopez got his 18th save. You think Baltimore's going to trade Jorge Lopez? Closer?
No.
You think they'll
Are
trade?
you kidding me? Baltimore better be buyers. They better be buyers.
We're going to the Baltimore game on August 6th. 5th.
I hope we can.
So,
Well, definitely we can.
Yep.
We're going.
Absolutely hoping.
So, I love what Baltimore's doing. I love the fact that they beat the Yankees yesterday. I love the closer situation there. I love the bullpen. I love Adley Rutschman. He's a doubles monster.
How about Jorge Mateo? Leads the American League with stolen bases. He singled. He
Unbelievable.
stole second.
Yes.
Scored a run. Come on, man.
The
Orioles
Baltimore-
are for real,
I
right?
love watching the Orioles. Except for tonight, you're going to have... This is an interesting matchup. You have Nestor Cortez against Dean Kremer. And Nestor Cortez overall is 7-3 with a 2.63 ERA. But he has been horrible lately.
Yes. He's thrown 6 or more innings and allowed 1, right?
Well, but how is that possible? It says he's made 6 starts in
6 starts.
But 6 starts all season where he's done that? Because he
Yeah,
hasn't been good lately.
All season, he's had 6 starts where he's thrown 6 or more innings and allowed 1 run or less.
Right, all season. So, but that isn't recently, I'll tell you that. Dean Kremer, on the other hand, right-hand pitcher for Baltimore, he's actually not very good against the Yankees, even though he's 3-1 with a 2.59 ERA. He has a 5.01 ERA and 5 starts against the Yankees. So what? I'm still throwing him out there today in DFS if I want to take a chance on $1
Okay.
and go against what's it called when you go against the
It's called a mistake.
contrarian?
It's called a mistake.
You have to go against the crowd
I
if you want
know.
to win big tournaments.
Brandon Woodruff pitched 6 scoreless innings. Hunter Renfroe
Not
back.
scoreless.
Strong, I said.
Okay.
3-run homer.
He's 3-0. Woodruff is 3-0 with a 2.20 ERA in 5 starts since he came off the injured list June 27th. So he had a right ankle strain and Raynaud syndrome, which is obviously a very weird syndrome that is not normal. And so people act like it's normal. It's not normal.
And Colorado hasn't won in Milwaukee since 2019, at the beginning of May. So,
That's a good one for your
So
DFS list.
DFS.
Colorado
Well,
hasn't won in Milwaukee
so are they due since 2019? Are they due to win in Milwaukee?
I doubt it. But they do have, don't they have, who's their best player with the name? Connor Joe. Is Connor Joe on their team?
Renfroe hit a 2-run homer. We talked about that. So CJ Cron, 22nd home run.
And he leads the Colorado Rockies. He led off the 9th inning, so it wasn't just any old home run,
Yep.
too. He led off the last inning with a home run, number 22, leads the Colorado Rockies in home runs. It's not that surprising, really. But you must be pleased since you spent all your money on him.
Yes, I did. Jonathan Daza hit his first home run of the season.
He had 349
Whoa,
at-bats.
excuse
Yes.
me.
It's not your turn.
My
349.
turn- We're doing turns?
It took him, Jonathan Daza, 349 at-bats to get a home run. Okay.
Dog Man.
Okay, let me talk about Manny Macho Man.
Okay.
The Macho
I
Man.
want to talk to Dog Man.
Okay.
Go.
Macho Man Manny Machado, 2-run homer. I just love this guy. He's my favorite. That's all I want to say.
Okay.
He said he was interviewed after the game. He said, I haven't been doing that great lately, but there's no doubt in my mind that Manny Machado is a target for anybody. If you need a player, this is a great time to pick him up because I'll tell you what, it's almost a given that as long as Machado stays healthy, which he stays healthy every year. In fact, this year he's been hurt more than any other season since he started playing 10 years ago. He is a monster. If he's going to be gotten by anybody, it could be right now because people are a little disappointed with what he's done lately. But I would say he's my favorite player in baseball this year.
June 1st, the Mets had a 10.5 game lead. It's down to a half a game. Unbelievable.
Bassett was great yesterday.
So Machado, he's your favorite, 16th home run.
San Diego's won 4 times in the last 5 games, Malpal.
Yeah, okay.
But he was hitless in his previous 11 at-bats before he connected yesterday. His batting average dropped under 300 for the first time since April because he went 0 for 4 on Friday, and I would say go try to get him.
And what about Snell? You never know what you're going to get.
What is this guy? Who even talks about this?
He
fool?
struck out 5. He walked 2. He had pretty good, I think, 50-something.
Clevenger deserves some love because he's actually threw 6 innings last time he was out.
So the Mets lost the 3 straight for the second time, nearly shut out for the 6th time. So
Bassett was good.
And Bassett's good.
He looked great striking out batters yesterday. He was in control. He had mound presence.
2 runs, 4 hits, 7 innings.
And 11 Ks.
11 strikeouts. Pretty good. C.J. Abrams was a late scratch. He was supposed to play shortstop, but he was out. So we'll see what happens with him.
Tampa Bay, Kansas City.
Yep.
Brady Singer struck out 12. That's a career high. And then Michael A. Failure.
Does it sound like he's been around for 50 years?
Michael Taylor and Bobby Witt Jr. hit homers off of Ryan Yarbrough in a 3-run 8th. The Kansas City Royals beat the Rays, which is great, 6-3. He's 25, Brady Singer. This is his 3rd season. He made it 6 innings yesterday, 1 earned run, 2, but only 1 of them was earned, 3 hits and 2 walks, and he struck out, I don't know.
Okay. And Michael Taylor hit a 6th home run.
Of the season, Leonard. That sucks.
Sounds like he's been doing
He
it.
sucked.
Tampa has what? How many? 16 players on the injury list. What team has more? What team has more
The
players?
White Sox?
No. Cincinnati. That's right. So only 7 players from their opening day roster have remained active all season for Tampa.
Boston Paul just picked up Carpenter. Good job.
There you go. Way to go.
See, that's the way to play.
That's the way to go.
You can't hate the Yankees enough to let your team suffer in fantasy.
A couple more games, and once again...
Betts hit his 200th home run
Usually
yesterday.
on Sirius Radio we do reads, but here we're going to just say a million thank yous.
I feel bad because I haven't been coming to King Hap's show. I hope he comes back.
He didn't have one last week.
I know, probably because I didn't come and... maybe
no.
it feels like we've...
He'll be back. Mookie Betts, okay, his 200th home run, 27th active player to do that.
Mookie Betts, he's got the most... Guess who has... Well, I guess I just told the genius. Okay, I was going to say, who has the best WAR in baseball since 2018?
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts.
Oh, that was a tough one.
Sorry, it was bad timing. But Freeman... Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Freeman and Turner also home runs yesterday.
Right.
It was the first time 3 Dodgers at the top of the order because these guys about 1, 2, and 3 went deep in the same game. And Betts leads the Dodgers with 22 homers, so he's tied with C.J. Cron, apparently. And Freeman and Turner, they have 15 apiece. But Julio Urias tossed 6 innings of 2-hit ball. The Dodgers have won 7 straight and 14 of their last 15. They have a National League best 63-30 record and a 10.5 game lead over San Diego in the West. So that doesn't mean that San Diego can't make the playoffs, though. And like we said earlier, David Price did come on because, God forbid, you have a pitcher throw 2 days in a row when they have to throw like 7 pitches.
That's right. And there's the
Here we go. What
Alex
happened?
Wood,
I'm scared.
he struck out.
We told
5
everybody to pitch Alex Wood
Right,
yesterday.
and he didn't pitch bad.
So that's the thing. The team doesn't have to win the game for the pitcher to be useful in the game, in fantasy.
He went 4+ innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, struck out 6. Not a bad game. So
it's not a quality start because he can't.
But I wasn't wrong. I said play.
Oh, you were right.
I said play.
As always.
Okay, I said play him. And by the way, also...
Gavin Lux had a triple.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman.
And he's got... Yeah.
22 for 42.
And he's got an 11-game streak.
Okay, go.
So you got Brandon Crawford with knee inflammation. He took ground balls for the first time since he had a cortisone shot last Sunday. And then for the Dodgers, Blake Treinen, he threw a bullpen before the game. Andrew Haney remains on schedule to rejoin the rotation next week. And the Dodgers are playing 18 straight games after the All-Star break. So they need a 6-man staff for at least one turn.
That's right.
Austin Riley.
Homer and 2 cents. Kyle Wright. Boy, nobody's talking about him. He won his 12th game.
He's tied with Gonsolin.
The National League pitchers, right?
Isn't he tied?
Riley was an All-Star reserve, 15-game hitting streak, and is batting .439 over his last 20 games. Austin Riley, right? What?
I'm reading the chat room.
Are you reading the chat room? Andrea and fantasy, as much as I hate the end.
I'm with you, dude. Okay. I'm with you, Boston Paul.
Half game behind the Mets for the Braves. So they just keep.
So the Braves are about to take over the lead for the.
Oh yeah, the Mets.
What's the chances of the Mets getting Soto? I think it's better than the Cardinals getting Soto.
Well, I think the fact that the Mets are in jeopardy of losing their lead may have put pressure on Steve Cohen to get Soto. I really believe that. The Mets had a big lead, 10.5 game lead. They blew it. The only way to turn the tide is to get Soto.
Do they have the minor leaguers to do it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they could trade him Vientos. They could trade, the Mets have, the Mets have minor leaguers to do it. It is possible. Okay? And Atlanta, 20 games over 500 for the first time. Wright has, scratch my back. Wright has won 5 straight to sit. Here's the genius of the day
is your
question.
Back scratcher just when I sit
Here's the genius of the day question. And Boston Paul, you'll be getting your prize. How many times has she scratched my back during this radio show? How many times? Patrick Sandoval gave up 5 runs, 8 hits. He's now 0-5 with a .495 ERA in his last 9 starts.
Oh, that sucks. That means I have to reanalyze what I'm doing. I still think he's a good pitcher, but this is not good.
And Atlanta is 24-9 against left-handed starters. Remember that when you're playing DFS, okay?
Atlanta is on fire right now.
Yeah, they absolutely. Adam Duvall left the game with a sore left wrist.
Go back up. Trout. There's some information on Trout.
Oh, you want to talk about Trout?
He had a cortisone shot in his back. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's why he's not stealing bases. Cortisone is shot in his back on Thursday, and he's going through his progressions and core stability program. But the head athletic trainer says that he's not going to come off the injured list in the next couple of days. So he's on the injured list with left rib inflammation, and he's also having back spasms. Back spasms are no joke, especially with an aging elderly population, right, Lenny?
We're going to have to go visit. We're going to go visit Dogman.
Where is he?
He's somewhere.
You don't know where he is, but we're going to go visit him.
I think he got us a hotel.
Oh.
But we'll see. Thank you if you did. And even if you didn't, we thank you anyway. Love the Dogman, that's for sure. And Adam Duvall left the game, wrist soreness, so you got to be careful on that. And finally, the Nationals and the A's, Baumgartner, 8 effective innings, struck out Soto twice. So he's down on Alec Thomas, who I like. I got him on my Tout Wars team. He's got 3 hits. He's a good player. The Diamondbacks have won 2 lopsided games. The Nationals lose for the, what?
17 out of the last 19 games.
That's bad. Very bad. All right, anything else you want to say? We got Texas and the A's.
What about Vimail?
Vimail Machin. Okay, he scored on a throwing error. Oakland held off Texas 3-1.
Oakland was good last night.
Oh, they're never good.
Yeah, they are, but all their seats are empty.
Oakland is not good. This is a bad team. Martin Perez pitches today. He's won 7 consecutive decisions. And there you go. Thank you to Anthony Miller. Thank you to Boston Paul. Great to see you in the chat room. Thank you to Chris Gallo, Data Premier, Daniel Ferrara, the Dogman, the Caprion, the King Hap, Leonard Donaldson, the Malpal, the Post 1958, Triple Play. Everybody. And, of course, we always say hello to Unholy Toledo, White Sox Al, and Zelmo. Thank you all. Tommy Johnston, great to see you in the chat room. Woo!
So
Okay.
Tyler Stevenson, though, had he's got a broken clavicle. That's crazy. So he's actually not due back until September. But I just wanted to bring up their backup catchers because you have Aramis Garcia. He's out with COVID. Then you have Michael Papersky and Mark. I've never seen names like this in baseball. This is like hockey names, okay?
What? Oh.
Right here.
Oh. I don't know.
Michael.
Colo.
Neither of these guys are really good enough to put on your team. I think they're both going to share playing time behind the plate. So if you have Tyler Stevenson, you might want to look for a different catcher on a different team. Cause
Okay. Okay.
You said okay.
Okay. I'll be back tomorrow, Lady and the Legend, every Sunday. With the turnout that we had this morning, we can only say one thing. Let's say it together.
Suck on it.
We love you all. Thanks, everybody.